Well, maybe you've been watching these film clips. You say, I'd like to try the story room. I'd like to develop my skills in that area so that not only do I have the analytical room and the music and all these other areas, but I can also use the stories. So what do I do? Well, here's just a few tips on how to develop your skills in this area. First of all, when you're teaching through the Bible and you come to a story, rather than reading that story, read a few verses from the story and then look up at the people and simply tell it to them. You may say, I'm not a storyteller. I'm not sure if I'd be good at that. Don't worry about it. People won't know the difference. They'll enjoy hearing you tell the story. Try it a few times and then ask the people. Talk to them and see what they say. I think you'll find they will really enjoy hearing you simply tell the story, and then you can teach on it. As you're telling the story, make sure that you use a telling version of the story and not a written version. Sometimes people will take the written Word of God, the written story, they'll make a simpler written story. As you may know, there are rules of writing and there's rules of telling. The Bible is written using written rules of writing. So when you want to tell a story, you need to use rules of telling. It's what we say so it flows off the tongue. The next thing is make sure you don't memorize the story. We'll be doing a film clip soon on how to learn stories without memorizing. You say, well, why can't I just memorize it? Well, there are several reasons, but one reason is that you will learn a whole lot more stories if you don't memorize them. If you just see them as mental pictures, it's just amazing how many stories you can learn. Well, also when you in the story room and you want some audience participation about the story, try not to ask questions that leads the audience down a particular path. Learn how to use more open-ended questions and observe the Spirit of God teaching you as they answer those questions. Just a few little tips that will help you develop your skill in this area of the story room. But you might say, well, I remember you said there's a lot of people with expertise in the analytical room and the music room, but not so many in the story room. How can I develop an expertise in this area? Well, to do that, here are a few little pointers. Number one, get a daily diet of stories. Either go online and download these or read them online. If you just go to BibleTelling.org, BibleTelling.org, there's a place that says free downloads, and you can download the entire stories of the Bible. Now, make sure you have plenty of paper in your printer. I have found it's easier just to go to a local quick print place and give them the website, let them download it. I always tell them, make sure you print back to back, and that's what this is. It's just from our local printer, and that is if you want a paper copy. We've also given you something called the Story of the Day. If you go to BibleTelling.org, there's a place where you can subscribe to a daily email service where we will send you the story of the day. We have taken all the stories, all 400, 500 stories, and we have compiled them into 260 stories. So that's one story, 5 days a week, 52 weeks of the year. So you can go through the whole thing every year. We also have, we're also developing an audio version so that you can listen to the stories as you drive back and forth to work or as you're getting ready for the day or whatever it is where you can listen to the stories. Main thing is get a daily diet of stories. then get constant training. I offer trainings. Other Bible tellers have trainings. There's other programs that uses story that is not Bible telling. Whatever it is, go get trainings and then take it again and then take it again. We have people who come to our trainings who come back 4 or 5 times. We usually make our trainings where you pay for it the first time and then it's free after that, because we encourage people to come back and get more training. And then on top of that, find a mentor and shadow that person. Find a Bible teller and who you respect and you want them to mentor you, and shadow them. I've had people who will decide that I'm it, and they will just shadow me, and they develop that skill. Find you someone and shadow them. If you absolutely can't, then find someone else who wants to develop this skill and work together. And then there's constant growth. Not only do you get a daily diet of stories and constant training, make sure you get a consistent growth. I recommend that you learn a story a week. If that's too many, one every 2 weeks. But whatever it is, get a schedule where you learn to tell these stories on a regular basis. And then another area is develop a kind of a hunger to know about story backgrounds, the customs and the times. There's all kinds of books that are written about that. I'll probably put a few at the end of this film clip, of a few suggestions of books. But buy these books and start studying what's behind the story. Learn not only to tell them, but to know more about the story. So there's a constant diet, there's a daily diet, a constant training, consistent growth, and then a generous outflow. If you just keep bringing stories in, and don't let it flow out, there'll come a time when you'll just stop. You have to have a reason for learning these stories. Make sure that you have some way, some ministry. If you don't know what it is, talk to your pastor. Talk around. You can tell these stories at retirement homes and in Christian schools. You can tell them in Sunday school. You can tell them in your adult class. Maybe your adult Sunday school teacher or a small group study will allow you. Whatever it is, tell these stories. I encourage pastors to have someone, if he or she's going to preach on a Bible story, have a Bible teller get up and tell the story just before the message or at the beginning of the service. What a great way to have a constant learning of these stories. And then get someone on the path. Get someone to go through all the stories of the Bible and work with them. And you'll be amazed how you can impact the lives of others by using these stories. Well, it's a constant diet of stories, a daily diet, a constant training, consistent growth, and a generous outflow. Welcome to the world of Bible telling. Come join us.